morning to one and all. Myself, Sreekanth. I belongs to Department of Data Science. Today, I want to discuss about introduction to cloud computing. What is cloud computing? What are the advantages of cloud computing and benefits of cloud computing? And what are different cloud deployment models are there? What are different cloud service models are there? So, I want to discuss all these basic concepts of cloud computing in this particular video. Yes, today's agenda of this particular session is why cloud computing, what is cloud computing, and the characteristics of cloud computing, cloud service models, and cloud deployment models, cloud infrastructure, virtualization, cloud service providers. What are different service providers available in the market nowadays? We'll start with why cloud computing. First, we'll discuss. Then after that, what exactly cloud computing. Then after that, what are the characteristics of cloud computing. Why we need cloud computing? Generally, in any organization, in any IT companies, in a traditional methods, basically, whenever you want to implement one application, one business application, anything, any kind of application you want to develop, basically we require some infrastructure. Means we required some server room, and like a server room is nothing but maybe a database server, maybe administrative servers, or maybe any application servers which you required basically here. So we require some servers and firewalls and routers and modems and switches. All these things are required. So in a traditional process, we need to purchase all these kinds of servers or hardware, whatever you required basically. So as a organization owner, you need to purchase each and every thing which you required for your application development. So obviously this is a costly, means purchasing each and every server or maybe any hardware configurations which you require to implement a one specific application. Maybe tomorrow that is not suitable to implement other kinds of application. Maybe applications may have a different infrastructure requirement and maybe a different configurations required. So again, that is a waste of purchasing all the products, all the infrastructure to that particular application. So instead of that, what we are providing means as a cloud service, no need to purchase any infrastructure or any hardware which you require to implement the application. So just we need to require whatever the service you required from the cloud computing side. Public cloud service providers, they are providing based on your requirement. Suppose you required for today some infrastructure requirement like 3 virtual machines you required for your implementation. Only you need to purchase that. Okay, no need to purchase extra. So pay as you go model means today you required something, okay, as per that requirement only you need to pay the amount to the public cloud service providers. So that flexibility is provided by the cloud computing. That is the major advantage of cloud computing. So that's why we required cloud computing to implement any kind of applications. So to establish IT infrastructure, we need to spend lots of money. Obviously, to purchase each and everything you required, we need to spend more money to overcome all these problems. To reduce the IT infrastructure costs, and cloud computing comes into existence. That is the advantage of cloud computing. So these are all the advantages. Means you can use for different purposes. You can use cloud computing for application. For application development, you can use for a database use cases. You can use as a public cloud or a private cloud or a hybrid cloud purpose. You can use and for any server maintenance activities, you can use a cloud. For any storage, like maybe you want to store a huge amount of data, you can store in a cloud in a secure way. So for mobile applications, you can use a cloud. For a different application point of view, we can use for a different purposes, we can use a cloud computing. So what exactly is cloud computing? As per the technical definition of cloud computing is mainly cloud computing is to describe the delivery of on-demand computing resources. Here on-demand computing resources nothing but hardware, storage, databases and networking and software. Okay, whatever you required, okay, just if you have an internet facility, just simply you can access all those services from the public cloud service providers simply. So no need to pay, okay, no need to pay large amount of in money, or you no need to spend more money to each and every infrastructure. Whatever you require for that particular application requirement, only you need to purchase that hardware or software, whatever the services which you required from that cloud service provider side. Only from our end as a user, only we require internet facility. If you have an account, service provider account, just you can access whatever the services you required from the cloud side. So that is the main advantage. Cloud computing enables organization to access and store information without managing their own physical devices. Means as a user, as a developer, no need to purchase any hardware or a software also sometimes. Okay, just whatever you required. Okay, so just you need to access from that service provider. Okay, the public cloud service provider, they manage. As a user, no need to manage infrastructure. They will manage each and everything. So only as a user, only you need to focus on development activities. That's it. Some of the following operations that we can do using a cloud computing, those are developing a new applications and services. Whatever applications you want to develop, maybe e-commerce applications or maybe any kind of applications, mobile application development, or any kind of applications you can develop, or maybe analytics purpose you can use. And on demand, suppose sometimes we need to deliver some softwares, you can use for that purpose also, for a storage and backup purpose and recovery. If something has happened to, okay, in some area, suppose for example, so you can take a backup from that particular data center also. If some data center may be collapsed, or maybe something because of natural calamities, maybe because of that reason something has happened to that data center, you can recover the data from some other data center also. That flexibility is available in cloud computing. And you can host blogs and websites. So that is one of the advantage of cloud. Like this, many application areas are there. You can use cloud computing in each and every area. The major characteristics of the cloud computing here, some of the major characteristics here I am discussing. Agility. Agility means cloud works in a distributed computing environment. It shares the resources among users and works very fast. Meaning here, distributed computing environment means multiple people, they can collaborating each other, they can share their ideas, and quickly they can do their works. No need to wait for others. Means suppose as a team we are working at 10 members, parallelly they can do their works on that particular project. No need to wait for anyone. So in that case, you can do your works a very faster way, quickly. Okay, so all you can share your resources, whatever the resources required to implement that particular project, you can share. So your work will be done in a faster way. That is agility. The second characteristic is high availability and reliability. The availability of servers is high and more. Means we are working, there are multiple regions are there for every service provider is providing, and in every region there are multiple zones are there. Suppose based on your requirement, suddenly the data requirement is more. Suddenly you require some storage, extra space, or maybe some virtual machines are required. In that case, so immediately you can increase the capacity of your virtual machines, or maybe storage capacity, whatever you required, that facility is available. That is 99.99% availability is there. And at the same time, reliability is nothing but whenever you are storing some data in a cloud, so that data is reliable. The chance of infrastructure failure is minimum. Even though if something is lost, you can retrieve or else you can take a backup of that data immediately from some other zone or some other region. So that's why here high availability and reliability. And the next characteristic, that is high scalability. So on-demand provisioning of resources are available here. Means when the requirement is high, so immediately you can increase either horizontally or else maybe vertically. You can increase the resources which based on your application requirement, and at the same time, so even in peak hours you can increase automatically. Suppose maybe big billion days something you have. Suppose at midnight, obviously there is a heavy traffic to your application. So automatically, according to that okay, automatically the resources will be added to your existing infrastructure. No manually, no need to, okay, increasing the configuration of your machine or a system. It's not required. So automatically it will consider according to the traffic of your application. Automatically it will increase the size of the machines, or maybe any infrastructure which required. The scalability feature is available. Horizontal scalability is required. Horizontal scalability will be provided. Vertical scalability is also provided. So multi-sharing, this is another important characteristics of cloud computing. So with the help of this cloud computing, multiple users and applications can work collaboratively. They can share their ideas. Obviously, parallelly you are doing the work, means obviously the work will, you can increase or speed up your works, and the productivity will be increased. That is the advantage. And you can reduce the cost also while sharing the common infrastructure. Suppose you are working with the same project, or maybe two different projects. So those two projects having a some common infrastructure required. So you can share that common infrastructure so that you can reduce the cost of infrastructure also. That is the advantage. Multiple sharing, multi-sharing. Multiple users and applications can work together collaboratively. They can share their common infrastructure also. That is another advantage. The fifth one is device and location independence. Cloud computing enables the users to access the systems using web browsers, okay, regardless of their location. Means location is not important here. So once you have an internet facility, you can access the services of your cloud service provider from, maybe you are in forest, or maybe you are in village. You can access your data from the cloud. Only if you have an internet facility, simply you can access the services. So that's why device and location independence. Okay, wherever you are, simply you can access the data. Then another characteristics, maintenance. Maintenance of cloud applications are easier since they do not need to be installed on each user's computer. Why? Because here you are not maintaining any infrastructure, your own infrastructure you are not using to implement any kind of application. So simply you are using cloud service providers infrastructure, so they will manage, so maintenance cost is also zero. So no need to maintain any infrastructure from user end. So the next one is low cost. By using cloud computing, the cost will be reduced, because to take the services of cloud computing, so whichever the service you are using, only for that particular service only you need to pay. So very nominal amount we need to pay to the service provider. Suppose for application development, suppose you are purchasing some infrastructure and hardware or whatever the resources you require. Suppose you are paying 10 lakhs rupees. The same thing you can implement using the cloud computing within 1 lakh. So that much difference is there if you are using cloud computing and traditional. So traditional it will take more, means obviously you need to purchase each and everything. You need to build each and every server room or any kind of thing. You need to maintain cooling system for that particular room. Each and everything is a maintenance. So maintenance is high, and obviously cost is also high in a traditional approach. When you are using the cloud computing services, so obviously the low cost and low maintenance. And services in pay per use mode, like no need to pay at a time. Whatever the services you require, only for those services only you need to pay. So that's why this is a pay as you go model. So this is the diagram for the advantages of cloud computing. These are all the different types of applications and advantages. Okay, one is backup and restore data, improved collaboration, excellent accessibility, low maintenance cost, just now we discussed, mobility, services pay per use, unlimited storage capacity, data security. These are all the advantages. Backup and recovery means if something is happened to the region in one specific region, okay, because of maybe natural calamities or maybe any disasters are happening, so automatically you can recover your data from some other region. Okay, within a fraction of seconds you can get back your actual data. Okay, you cannot lose any even 1 byte or 10 bytes of data. That is the advantage. So like that, we have a backup and recovery and restore mechanisms are there in cloud computing. And improved collaboration means multiple users and multiple applications can work together. They collaboratively, they can work together so that they can reduce the cost while sharing the infrastructure. And excellent accessibility means if you have a good internet, then you can access the services from anywhere, from any type of services. And the low maintenance costs, obviously the cost of maintaining a cloud infrastructure is very low, and we are not maintaining any infrastructure from our end. Only the cloud service provider will take care about that maintenance point. Okay, maintenance kind of mobility. Okay, you can use in mobile applications, even if you have a web browser or simply you can access any service from the cloud side. Okay, so these are all some of the advantages already we discussed. Mobility, mobile devices to access data, and you can use the smartphones or maybe tabs, or users can easily access and control their cloud-based applications, and you can increase the mobility and productivity. Okay, it's not required to use any laptop or any kind of desktop. If you have some mobile or a tab, okay, simply you can access cloud-based services. And this is a pay-per-use model, already we discussed. So whatever you are using, only for that only you can pay. So no need to pay lakhs of rupees. So scalable storage capacity. So suppose even in a peak hours, you can increase the scale resources. Maybe during peak hours, maybe in a business hours, suppose you have a huge traffic for the particular application. Simply you can increase the resources. And during off-peak hours, automatically the resources will be reduced, so that you can save the cost. So that is the advantage. And enhanced data security is nothing but cloud computing uses high focus on data security. That is very important. Why? Because whenever you are implementing any kind of application, data is very important. User data is very important. While storing that data in a cloud is nothing but, so we need to provide a high data security. That is very important. So that is guaranteed by your service providers, all public cloud service providers like Microsoft Azure, or maybe Google Cloud, or maybe AWS, or any kind of public cloud service providers. They are providing a high level security to user data. So even any data is lost, immediately you can get back, you can recover that data. So they are providing a different levels of security. They are using some encryption algorithms, customer managed encryption key algorithms are there, Google managed encryptions are service providers side also. They are providing some different security mechanisms they are using. With the help of that, they are providing a high level data security. So these are some of the advantages of cloud computing. And coming to the next one is cloud service models. What are these cloud service models? Cloud service models, nothing but as a user, how you are using cloud services, like whether you require the complete infrastructure you required, or maybe you require just a platform to develop an application you required, or else a complete application you required. According to that, they categorized into three kinds of service models. One is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So look into this particular diagram. This particular diagram shows the difference between your traditional approach and all these cloud service models. Cloud service models, nothing but IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So if you observe this particular diagram, if you are observing, so there are different stack. Okay, there in this particular stack there are different blocks are there. If you observe, applications, data, runtime, and middleware, operating system, virtualization, server, storage, all these things that you required when you are developing any application. So as a traditional, suppose you are following a traditional approach, you are not following a cloud services. So then in that case, everything you need to manage. As a user, okay, you need to manage, means you need to purchase whatever the software you required, you need to install whatever the virtual machines are you required, or any operating system you required, maybe application servers you required, maybe any runtime environments to execute your applications, what type of data you required, all these things you need to take care as a user in a traditional IT. But whereas in cloud service models, there are three different service models are there. When you are taking infrastructure as a service here, So you need to manage applications, data and runtime and middleware. Only you need to manage these four you need to manage. The rest of the things are managed by your cloud service provider. Your cloud service provider manages operating system, virtualization, servers, storage, networking. All these five types of services are managed by the cloud service provider. So similarly, if you are taking platform as a service, as a user, you need to manage applications, data you need to manage. The rest of the services are managed by your service provider. Which are the service provider you are using? Suppose if I am using a Google Cloud Platform managed by all these rest of the services in PaaS. In software as a service, as a user, you are not doing anything. Just you are using that particular application. Okay, so all these services are managed by your service provider only. You are not managing. You are not managing any kind of thing. You are not managing any kind of thing. So that you need to remember. So this is a basic understanding about different types of cloud service models. We'll see one by one what exactly all these types of service model, cloud service models. IaaS is nothing but infrastructure as a service. Means the name itself represents infrastructure is nothing but to develop an application you require some infrastructure, nothing but hardware you require to implement. Maybe a CPU, okay, maybe a RAM, ROM, something you require, something, okay, maybe a networking related you require sometime. So all this comes under hardware. This is also called as a hardware as a service. So that's why hardware as a service. So here the majorly we are talking about the computing infrastructure which required. Okay, here computing infrastructure is nothing but something like virtual machines. Whenever you require, suppose you want to develop any application, you require some machine. You require some machine. That is basically here in cloud we are calling as a virtual machines. Virtual machines. Okay, so that is required. So all these in infrastructure, if you observe here in this particular stack, applications, data, runtime you are managing. The rest of the things are managed by your service provider, like networking related, storage related, servers related, virtualization related. So all these things are managed by your cloud service provider. Okay, that's why this is called as a infrastructure as a service. Some of the characteristics of the infrastructure as a service, like resources are available as a service, is exactly means maybe a computing resource or maybe a storage resource or maybe a networking resource or whatever it may be. So these services are infrastructure as a service. Services are highly scalable based on your requirement. In a peak hours, suppose you require some extra virtual machines, so automatically the machines will be scalable. Means you require 2 more machines, so automatically those resources are scale up according to your requirement, at the same time scale down according to the requirement. During off peak hours, we won't require much resources. At that time, automatically resources will be reduced, so that is scale down. And dynamic and flexible. So just now I mentioned, so whenever you have a huge traffic, suppose in business hours you require, suppose 10 VMs are required, so automatically it will scale up automatically. You are not doing manually anything. So maybe off peak hours, suppose for example half peak hours, so during that you require only 2 VMs. So you can scale down to 2 virtual machine. So when you are scaling up and scaling down, okay, so automatically you can reduce the cost also like that. Okay, for 10 VMs you have one cost, for 2 VMs you have a different cost. So you are not using a virtual machine. If the virtual machine is ideal, means off peak hours, then automatically it will scale down. So that is the advantage of cloud computing. That is one of the biggest advantage. So you cannot waste your resources, but in your traditional approach, once you are installing, once you are configuring any system for your application development, means whether you are using those resources or not, okay, so all the resources are available. So sometimes may not be you are using some of the resources. So initially you purchase, but that resource may not be used maybe further, then that is useless. Means you are spending some amount of money on that particular resource is waste. So like that. But in cloud, the advantage is whichever the services you require, only those services you can pay and you can use it. That's it. So automated administrative tasks, you can perform automation. Like just now I mentioned, like suppose suddenly there is a huge traffic to our application. At that time, peak hours, I required 100 machine. So those 100 machines automatically will be allocated. No need to do manually anything. Automation will be performed automatically. You are selecting that option, auto scalability feature. So if you are selecting auto scalability feature, automatically you can scale up your applications during peak hours. During off peak hours, automatically scale down those resources. Maybe I will require only 10 hours in off peak hours. Only those 10 servers will be allocated for that particular application. So that flexibility is available in cloud. Okay, automation of administrative tasks you can perform. So here some of the services from public cloud service provider side, as a IaaS as a service, they are providing infrastructure as a service. From GCP side, you have a compute engine, that is basically we are calling as a virtual machine, and cloud storage, mainly we are using to store and retrieve any data, whatever it may be, the size of the data, volume of the data, maybe petabytes of data you can store, maybe limited period you can store, maybe 3 months, maybe a 1 year you can store. Okay, whatever the requirement you have, according to your requirement you can store that data. So that is also comes under infrastructure as a service. Why? Because infrastructure they are providing, cloud service provider side they are providing that particular storage service. They are providing to store some data or whatever you want to store, files or maybe application development files, you can store in that storage they are providing. Maybe sometimes virtual private networks you are using. So those services also provided by the GCP platform, those are also comes under infrastructure as a service. Similarly, like that, from AWS side, Amazon Web Services side also we have similar kind of services, something like Elastic Compute Cloud, that is called as a EC2 instances. Similarly, for cloud storage in GCP, here in AWS we are calling as a S3 service, that is simple storage service. Similarly, VPC, virtual private cloud. So all the services are available in all the public cloud service providers with a different name. That is the only difference. In Microsoft Azure also, something you have Azure virtual machines, and blob storage, something for storing the data, any kind of data, object storage. Okay, majorly we are storing unstructured data. And similarly, you have a Azure virtual network, something like virtual private cloud in your Google and AWS. So whenever you are using any kind of public cloud service provider, they are providing all these services as a infrastructure as a service. So then coming to the next type of service model, that is platform as a service. So what is platform as a service? As a service provider, what they are providing, as a user, what you are doing. So in a platform as a service, it is mainly created for the programmers to develop or test and run all the applications. Suppose I want to develop one web application, okay, you can implement those web applications and you can host those applications in a cloud. That comes under platform. Means they are providing infrastructure as well as the environment which required to develop, to test, to run and to manage your applications. They are providing except the data and application, everything service provider is providing. Okay, some of the characteristics of this platform as a service, that is accessible to various users via the same development application. Means different users can access same kind of runtime environment they can use. Some other team they are using same kind of application, they can use same runtime environment. That is advantage. Integrate with other services of the and databases. You can integrate this platform as a service. You can integrate with other databases services in cloud. You can integrate easily. So builds a virtualization technology, so resources can easily scale up and down as per the organization need. Because of virtualization is nothing but physically it won't exist, but virtually that is available. So because of that reason, automatically the resources will be scaled up and scaled down. So that is the advantage. And it supports multiple languages and frameworks to implement your application development, and at the same time it supports auto scalability. Here some of the examples related to your platform as a service from every service provider. One is Google side, App Engine is one of the platform as a service, and Cloud SQL is also App Engine to implement different kinds of applications, and you can build and you can deploy those applications in App Engine service. And Cloud SQL, whatever the database activities you want to, maybe you want to store some data in your databases, you can use multiple database servers like Postgres, MySQL, SQL Server, Oracle. Okay, Google Cloud supports here MySQL, Postgres SQL Server. Within one service, you can use all these kinds of RDBMS you can use. That is the advantage. Again, just you need to select the option, whichever the RDBMS you want to use. Okay, and cloud functions here. Okay, here event driven. Okay, event driven nothing but according to your requirement. Okay, suppose if some event is occurred, okay, based on that event, so it will trigger, and according to that it will execute. Some functionality will be executed. Suppose if I am storing one file in a cloud storage bucket in GCP, so whenever the file is uploaded to that GCP bucket, so immediately I need to read that particular file, I need to perform some analysis. For that we are using this cloud function service. This cloud function service is also comes under okay, platform as a service. Similarly, for AWS side, you have a elastic beanstalk. Okay, so for just like a App Engine kind of thing, for building and deploying your applications, you can use EBS, elastic beanstalk. And similarly, for RDS side, relational database service, similar kind of service, Cloud SQL. So Lambda services, even from Microsoft Azure side, Azure App Service, Azure SQL Database, Azure functions. All these services comes under platform as a service. Then the third service model is software as a service. So this is also known as on-demand software, nothing but according to your requirement. Okay, they are providing some applications. So let us consider, suppose some application examples for software as service. When you are using Google, so Google provides some of the applications like Gmail is one application, or a Drive, Google Sheets, all these kinds of G Suite, all Google Suite completely comes under software as a service. All Google apps comes under software as a service. Why? Because they are developing complete application, they are hosting all these applications inside the cloud. So that's why this comes under software as a service. As a user, just you are utilizing those services, you are not developing any kind of thing, or you are not doing anything. So that's why this has come under software as a service. Just if you have an internet facility, just easily you can access those cloud service applications. Some of the characteristics of this software as a service, that is managed from central location, means as a user you are not managing anything. Okay, as a service provider, okay, cloud service provider, they are managing everything from one specific location. Okay, maybe one region, maybe one zone, they are managing this completely. Hosted on remote server. Okay, you are not hosting on your local server, they are hosting on remote server, so that you can access from anywhere. So accessible over the internet, all Gmail, Dropbox, maybe G Sheet, or any kind of Google Drives, all this comes under okay, software as a service. Users are not responsible for hardware, software updates, or updates are applied automatically. as a user, you are not managing anything. No need to worry about the hardware side, and at the same time, no need to manage maybe software patches, updates. Everything is taken care by the cloud service provider only. So some of the examples for software as a service from each service provider side. GCP side, okay, here you have a Google Workspace and Google BigQuery, Google Maps, some kind of services are there from software as a service. All G Suite applications comes under software as a service. Similarly, from AWS side, AWS Workspaces are there. AWS Chimney is there, QuickSight, and similarly from Microsoft side, Microsoft 365, Outlook, all this comes under, okay, Microsoft 365 under only. So all this comes under only software as a service. All these services are comes under software as a service. And just look into the basic difference between all three service providers. IaaS means infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. So it provides a virtual data center to store information and create platforms for app development and testing and deployment. So only for that purpose we are using IaaS. Okay, PaaS is nothing but platform as a service, virtual platforms and tools to create, test and deploy the apps. And the SaaS is nothing but it provides a web software apps to complete your business task, day-to-day task. So like you are sending some mail, that Gmail, Google Mail, okay, is a software as a service. Okay, you are sharing some photos in Google Photos or maybe a drive, you are sharing some data. So that is one application, you are using that application, that's it. It provides access to the resources such as virtual machines and virtual storage in infrastructure. In PaaS, it provides a runtime environment. Just now I mentioned App Engine as a one of the service comes under platform as a service from GCP side. Similarly, here SaaS, it provides software as a service for end users. This is for end users point of view. It is used by the network architects, IaaS infrastructure, and this is used by the developers. As a developer, you are using a platform as a service, and it is used by the end users. Okay, IaaS provides only infrastructure. Platform as a service provides infrastructure plus platform, means which is used for which requires to execute your application. That is called as platform. Like suppose if I am implementing one Java application, you require a Java and Java environment. So that is created. So here in software, infrastructure, platform, and at the same time, this complete application also they are providing. So that is the software. So these are all the differences between all three types of cloud service models. So next concept is cloud deployment models. So there are different types of deployment models are there. Basically, these are the 5 different deployment models are there: public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, community cloud, and multi-cloud. So types of clouds: public. First one is a public cloud. Name itself represents a public cloud is nothing but open to all. Means anyone can access, anyone can store data. Okay. So via internet, if you have an internet, then you can access any service from the public cloud service provider side. Just you need to pay as per your requirement. So that is public cloud. So here in public cloud, resources are managed and operated by the cloud service provider. Like suppose already mentioned, GCP is one of the public cloud service provider. Microsoft Azure and AWS, Amazon Web Services, is one public cloud services provider. So they are managing the resources. You are not managing. Just you need to pay for that particular service. If you want to use, that is comes under public. Okay, and you may be accessing the resources. Maybe whenever you require, you can scale out, scale in the resources. Okay. So because of this open architecture, means anyone, open to all means anyone can access if you have an internet facility. Okay, but one of the drawback of this public cloud is security. Some extent security. Users can use cloud service providers for different purposes, store their data, run apps, and whatever the services you are using, you can pay for those services. So that is public cloud. That some of the characteristics: accessibility, everyone can access; shared infrastructure, multiple users, you can share between the multiple application. Scalability, easily you can adjust the resources according to the requirements, okay, for quick scaling up and scale down. Pay per usage, whatever the services you are using, only you need to pay for that particular service. And these public cloud providers, public cloud managed by the cloud service providers only. Okay, and reliability and redundancy, public cloud providers ensures high reliability and at the same time implementing redundant systems for multiple data centers. Suppose same data will be copied into multiple regions and multiple zones. If something has happened to one of the region or one of the zone, you can take a backup of that data from other data centers or other regions. So advantages of public cloud is owned at a lower cost than private. Obviously public clouds are cheaper than compared to your private or any other kind of clouds. Public cloud is maintained by the cloud service providers, so that no need to worry about the maintenance. As a user, simply you can use that particular service. Public cloud is easier to integrate. Easily you can integrate with other consumers. So it means a public cloud, like suppose if I am using GCP service can integrate with AWS services. AWS services can integrate with GCP or maybe Microsoft Azure. So that flexibility is available in public cloud. But there are some drawbacks of public cloud also. Public cloud is less secure because resources are shared publicly. That is one of the drawbacks. And the performance depends upon the high speed internet. Okay, to work with any public cloud service provider, maybe GCP, AWS or Azure, so you require a high speed internet connectivity. If you don't have a proper internet connectivity, you cannot access the resources from that particular service provider. And the data is not under the control of the client, means as a user, you don't have a control over the data. Why? Because this is completely managed by the cloud service provider. Because of that reason, okay, you don't have a control over that data. So that is about public cloud. Anyone can access. You can share the resources. You can integrate the public cloud services from one service provider to another service provider. But there are some drawbacks. Those drawbacks are security is one major concern. The second one is performance is completely depends upon your internet connection. And then, okay, data is not under your control. Okay, so that is another drawback. And coming to the second deployment model, that is private cloud. So private cloud is nothing but, public is nothing but open to all. Private is nothing but internal cloud. You can say that corporate cloud. Means for an organization, okay, I don't want to share to all the peoples, okay, then you can create, you can use a private cloud, okay, means the data will not be shared. Okay, you can say that we are providing some extent high level security compared to your public cloud. So that is another advantage. So some of the applications you can, some of the private clouds are there, OpenStack and Eucalyptus. Okay, these are the open source tools to use private cloud. Okay, so, okay, this is specific to organization, not for all the organization. So you are implementing means this particular organization can access this particular private cloud. So there is a security compared to your private cloud. That is advantage. Characteristics: exclusive use, only for a specific organization purpose or individuals you can use. And control and security. Okay, previously you don't have a control over the data, but in private cloud you have a control over the data. Okay, and at the same time you are providing high level security also. Okay, why? Because everyone cannot access the private cloud data. Only those are authorized users, they can access that data. And customization and flexibility. Private cloud allows organization to customize the infrastructure. Previously what happened in public cloud, service providers, they are managing the infrastructure, but you don't have that flexibility as a user. But in private cloud, as a user, according to your requirement, you can customize the infrastructure according to your specific requirement. Maybe a configuration of the resources or networks and storage to optimize the performance and efficiency purpose. You can customize. That flexibility is available in private cloud. Scalability and resource allocation. Private cloud can scale and allocate the resources The same thing is available in public cloud also. Okay, according to the demands, okay, business may scale up and scale down the infrastructure, and you can utilize the resources very effectively in private cloud. Advantages of private cloud: provides high level security, okay, means a privacy to the users, okay. So you have some sensitive data you can store very securely. That is one of the advantage of private cloud. Private cloud offers a better performance with improved speed and space capacity. According to your application requirement you are developing, so obviously you can improve the application performance when you are using a private cloud. It allows the IT team to quickly allocate the delivery of on-demand IT resources, means this is specific to one individual or one organization, so that easily they can allocate the resources based on the demand of the user requirement. So, and at the same time there are some drawbacks also there. There are some drawbacks. So those drawbacks here, when you are using the private cloud, the skilled people are required to manage and operate these private cloud. Private cloud completely requires skilled people, obviously. If suppose those persons are not available, so you cannot use a private cloud in an efficient manner. You cannot use. Okay, private cloud can accessible within the organization. So the area of operation is limited. Obviously, this is limited to organization, one individual or one specific organization, limited. You cannot share the resources, okay, to others. Private cloud not suitable for organizations that have a high user base and organizations that do not have pre-built infrastructure and sufficient manpower to maintain and manage. So these private clouds are not suitable for certain organizations, like high users are, many employees or many users are available in that organization, and organizations that do not have a pre-built infrastructure already. If there is no infrastructure to build a private cloud, then in those use cases this is not helpful. Private cloud is not helpful. Okay, and at the same time, if some technical persons related to this private cloud, okay, some experienced persons are not available in that organization, in that case also private clouds are not good. So that is about the private cloud. Then hybrid cloud. Hybrid is nothing but it's a combination of public and private. So based on the requirement, okay, they are using both private and public cloud. Okay, that is about hybrid combination you can use. Okay, so security wise, okay, again, if you are using a public, less secure. If you are using a private, nothing but obviously high secure. So when you are comparing with the public, hybrid cloud provides a high level of security. When you are comparing with the private cloud, hybrid cloud provides a less security. Then the last topic of today's presentation, that is cloud service providers. Cloud service providers offers various types of cloud computing services, like already we discussed that like a public cloud providers are there, private cloud providers are there, okay, then like hybrid cloud providers are there, something like. So here they are providing the services. As a user, you are purchasing those services and you are utilizing for your application development. So they categorized broadly into these categories like public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, something they are providing, multi-cloud providers. So public cloud providers, nothing but best examples in the market. AWS is the top leading cloud service provider. Okay, the complete market share is almost above 60% of above market share is there. 60% and above is there. Microsoft Azure is another leading top 2 cloud service provider. This is top 1 and this is the third market leader. Google Cloud provider, they are providing different services related to computing side, storage side, big data side, networking side. They are providing for AI, Vertex AI based services. They are providing different services. They are providing whatever the requirement you have. You can use cloud. You can use a cloud. Respective cloud, every cloud service provider provide the respective services also. Similarly, for private cloud providers, only for a single organizations, only this is for only single organization. Some of the examples for private clouds: VMware, vCloud, so IBM Cloud Private, OpenStack is a cloud provider, Then the third one is here hybrid cloud providers. Hybrid is its combination of public cloud provider and private cloud provider. Means combinedly they are providing the service, some of the services from the public side and some of the services from the private side they are providing. Some of the examples like AWS Outpost, Azure Stack, Google Anthos. So these are the some of the hybrid cloud providers in the market. And multi-cloud providers, nothing but these providers supports the integration across the multiple cloud platforms. Like if I'm using the Google Cloud Platform, so I can integrate some of the services like AWS. Maybe if I am working with the AWS, I can integrate with the Azure. Maybe some services may be best in some of the service providers. Some services may not be best that much. Then we are integrating the services, cloud services from different service providers. So that is multi-cloud providers. So thank you so much.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.